breakfast forum. Okay, my name is Mary Johnson. I will be facilitating today along with Ms. Laura McClady, Winston Robinson. We have Carlinia Ivory Canty, Jackie Edwards Walton, Nathalie McElrath, and Nathalie is our timekeeper, and she's got some signs to let you know when time, and that's for the audience too, when you ask a question. And we have Mr. Steve Johnston on the computer over there. We have Ms. Sharitha Sherrill, she's our chaplain, she's not here this morning. And we have Mr. Thomas Moore on the piano. He provides our music, and I must say that he has a birthday, so we're gonna stop and sing happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Dr. Thomas. Happy birthday to you.
Yay. 74. Yeah. Look going up on the tooth. One more time.
This is wonderful. Our forum runs from 8:30 until 10 o'clock, and we do stop a few minutes before 10 for announcements. Announcements can also be sent to Steve, and you can get that on the website. Okay, we're going to start with a prayer. Ms. Walton, you want to just quickly give us a few words of encouragement?
Father, thank you so much for your so many blessings, your bounty that you give to us. We are so unworthy. We ask that today as we move into the proceedings of the Sarah Steve Santucci Forum, God, that our minds are open to receive all of the information that's coming forth that will help us get the information out to our neighbors and friends. This we ask in the soon coming King's name. Amen.
Amen. Okay, we have a really special treat here today. Let me get their name. Okay, today we have, we're going to talk about home tax relief and critical home repair. And we have Shakira Francis, Mecklenburg County Services Manager of Homes, Latoya Fawson, Executive Director of She Built This City. We have Miles Vaughn, Strategic Partnership Development Manager at Charlotte Neighborhood and Business Services. And do we have someone else too, and I'm missing someone?
Kim Oliver.
Oh, Kim, oh, okay.
I'm coming on behalf of my supervisor, Terry Marshall, who had a schedule conflict.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you, we appreciate it.
Canopy Housing
Right. This is such an important topic that we have this morning. Do we have anyone here for the first time? I didn't do that. Oh, wow. If you are a first timer, would you stand and just say who you are?
Good morning. My name is Wanda Diaz, and I'm the accounting specialist at the new Ella Scarborough Community Center.
I'm Rosalind Mayfield. I'm here on behalf of partially the Homes program, where I work with Mecklenburg County, and also at an admin at Ella Scarborough.
Hello, my name is Treva Tichy. I'm here on behalf of Homes. I'm one of the program coordinators.
Good morning, blessings to everyone. My name is Yvonne Reed. I'm a program coordinator with the Homes program.
Good morning, my name is Jamie Nagel. I am a Community Services Supervisor at the Valerie C. Woodard Center, and my primary program is Homes. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much. This is wonderful. Please come back again, okay? Okay, following their presentation, we will take questions from the audience. Please raise your hand and we will call on you in the order that you raise your hand. Okay, and you will be added to the list. The questions that you ask should be no longer than 30 seconds. We try to keep the questions to 30 seconds so that we have enough time for you to answer the question without a lot of commentary. Okay, again, Nathalie will be the timekeeper. Okay, Ms. McClady, you have another guest?
My name is Thaddeus.
Who are you here with?
Welcome, Thaddeus. Thank you so much. I know he's here with someone. He didn't just walk off the street. Okay, thank you. Okay. Right, we need more young people in here. Come back and bring your friends. Okay, Thaddeus? Okay, great. Okay, I'm not sure who's going to be leading the starting off. Okay, you're going to start off. Okay, so
she was waving at a friend.
Oh! You were waving at me.
I don't mind starting.
Okay, that would be great. You can start. You can start. That's wonderful. And you all.
I'm told.
We do. I do want to let you know that we have a large streaming audience. So it is important that you use the microphone because they can hear you better if you use the microphone. Okay. Okay, let's get started.
How long do they have?
Okay. Well, if each person can take a seat, maybe 3 minutes apiece.
You want just introductory comments?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Wonderful.
Okay.
Okay. I'm Kim Oliver. I am the Director of Community Engagement with the Canopy Housing Foundation. And the Canopy Housing Foundation is the charitable arm of the larger Canopy Realtors Association. And I know a lot of people, when they hear the word realtor, they may think money grubbing, they may think they're all about their monies and just going into the community, buying up houses, all of that. But I assure you, we in the foundation, there's a 3-person foundation. There's me, my supervisor, and our sponsorship coordinator. But our small unit allows our realtor base of 15,000, and we also organize and manage the multiple listing service in the Charlotte region. We're the largest realtors association in the city and the state. At any rate, my small unit is responsible for organizing, coordinating all of the events that allow our realtors to give back to the communities where they serve. We have a 3-county service area. We serve Haywood County, that's up in Canton, North Carolina, towards the mountains. We serve Iredell County, and we serve Mecklenburg County. Thank you for having me.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Latoya Foster. I'm the Executive Director of She Built This City. It's a pleasure to be here. She Built This City is a nonprofit organization that focuses on igniting interest and building pathways for youth, women, and marginalized communities into the skilled trades. And we do this through a lifespan continuum approach. We start with young people as young as my son, all the way up to training adult women into the skilled trades. Over the summer, we serve over 1,000 youth within Parks, Mecklenburg County Parks and Rec, CMS through hands-on builds. We have a free job training program called Tour of the Trades, where we take individuals who have little to no background in the skilled trades. We get them certified in their OSHA 10, give them hands-on experiences, get them ready for entry-level jobs in the skilled trades. And then we do critical home repair through training adult women in the skilled trades. And so we hire individuals from the community, again, who have little to no background, and we train them through doing critical home repair. This is a new initiative for our organization. We're a young organization. We'll be 5 in August. tomorrow, very soon. We'll be 5, but we've only been doing critical home repair for about a year now. But this year we've done over 30 homes, thanks to funding from the United Way, Lowe's, and then Ally Financial. We've been able to launch that program. We are in a unique space within the critical home repair. We don't do major renovations. We do accessibility modifications to homes, so grab bars, wheelchair ramps, GFCI outlet placements, light plumbing. And it's one of those things where we realize that we have major players like Rebuilding Together, who's here, Habitat for Humanity, who will do like a roof and a floor, but if that sink won't drain for a senior citizen who may not be able to afford to get a plumber, that's also critical for them. And so we're looking at those in-between repairs as well as being able to provide preventative maintenance, because something that would cost $50 now, if it's not addressed, it'll be a $5,000 repair before you know it. And so we're trying to get into that space to prevent the deterioration of homes and to maintain affordable housing units. So thank you for letting us be here today.
Good morning, my name is Shakira Francis. I am a manager with the Department of Community Resources, and my official position is Community Services Manager, and under that I have the Homes Program. I did want to do a presentation because we wanted to make sure that we get the information out to everyone exactly how it is, because this is a very critical program that we think that we bring the residents of Mecklenburg County. So if I could use my 3 minutes just to do the presentation, that'd be greatly appreciated. I'm gonna stand up. So our mission is to provide Mecklenburg County homeowners who are struggling with the rising cost of home ownership a relief source. Because we know that the price of owning a home is greatly going up. So we wanted to be able to provide this service. I need you to hold it up. Okay, thank you. So the Homes Program, can you hear me now? Oh, there it goes, there it goes. So the Homes Program stands for Helping Out Mecklenburg Homeowners with Economic Support, and we serve as an ally to our county homeowners. And the Homes Program could save you up to $648 this year. And plus, if you live in the city of Charlotte, so if you're a Mecklenburg County resident, you can get $648. If you live in the city of Charlotte, that can be an additional $367. And then the town of Davidson has joined in with us this year, and so if you live there, that could be an additional up to $566, which could receive up to $1,214 in our program, depending on where you live and the tax value of your home. And so the requirements for our program: the property must be located within Mecklenburg County. The property must be the owner's legal primary residence at the time of application and consistently been their residence for the past 3 years. So it can't be someone who's renting out a home to someone else. They have to have been the primary homeowner of that home and residing in that home. The residence grant recipient's name must be on the recorded deed. And when the qualifying person's name is not on a deed but on a recorded life estate, the person may participate in the program. So if they were granted that home through a life estate, they can participate in the program. And so as you see, these are income limits for 2024, and it's pretty high. So someone who has a family of one, just themselves living in a home, $59,400, they are eligible for our program to go towards their tax bill during that year. So it continues to go up. So as you see, a family of two, $67,850, a family of three, $76,350, and it keeps continuing on. And there is no age requirement. If your taxes are escrowed already through your mortgage company, then you can still apply, and it will be placed on to reduce your next year's amount that you owe for your taxes. So just so you know, our applications, we are steady growing. As you were saying, this is a newer program to the county. And so we are steady growing. So in FY21, we took in 677 applications, FY22, 1,122, FY23, 2,551, and fiscal year 24, 7,622 applications we have rolling in. We are trying to get this money out into the residents' hands of Mecklenburg County. So we need your help in helping us to get this information out to the community. So last year we did 2.5 million. We're trying to do 3.5 million this year, and that's why we need your help. And so what to expect, applications will be processed on a first come, first served basis until we run out of funding. We have a little over $8 million this year to spend between the county and the city and the town of Davidson. If your property has already been paid at the time you apply, the awarded grant will go to the next year, as I stated. And payments go directly to the county assessor's office, so they don't cut a check directly to you, it goes to the assessor's office. And then this is where, oh, I'm sorry.
It's online. Yeah, we can hear you fine. It's the people that are online.
That can't, I'm sorry, I keep dropping it down, I apologize. And then this is how you can apply for our program. So our program began July 1st, it runs through November 22nd, 2024. You can apply online, that's the best way to apply, which is metnc.gov/4homes. But you can also come into any of our offices. And we have the Department of Community Resources, Valley C. Woodard Center, which is 3205 Freedom Drive. The new LOB Scarborough, which is off of Stitt Road at 430 Stitt Road. And you can also get applications at the county assessor's office. And we are available if someone needs someone to come out and assist them with filling out an application or anything of that nature. We also have interpreters who are available if that is needed. And then this is just our team, and I don't want to take up time reading through this, but this is our team of directors that supports this program. And then myself, Shakira Francis, program manager, and then we have here Jenny Nagel, who is the supervisor. So I thank you for your time.
Hi, I'm Beth Morrison, Executive Director of Rebuilding Together Greater Charlotte. We are a nonprofit that provides critical home repairs for low-income families throughout the Greater Charlotte area. We serve a 5-county area, including Mecklenburg, Gaston, Iredell, Union, and Cabarrus counties. We've been around since 2010 in Charlotte, and we've really grown a lot over the past 6 years. For a number of years, we were kind of an all-volunteer group doing what we could, but we've had the opportunity to really grow over the past 5 or 6 years to expand counties, but also really to deepen the types of repairs we're able to do. So, you know, as LaToya said, She Built This City is serving a need where, you know, those more minor repairs that help prevent bigger things from happening. Our organization's really kind of focused on the bigger things that happen. So our average investment per home is about $30,000 now. It really ranges from $10,000 on the low end up to $50,000 or so. We get funding mostly from, for our projects are mostly funded by government sources. So the City of Charlotte, Mecklenburg County, the North Carolina Housing Finance Agency using HUD funds. With that, you know, our program unfortunately it's not a quick process. To be able to come in and do $50,000 worth of work, that means we're gonna test your home for lead, we're gonna make sure that, you know, there's no hazards, we have to do everything really by the book. So it's not a, you know, somebody calls us up and they need their home rehabilitated, it could take, you know, 6 months to get to them. But we're able to have a very deep, lasting impact in those homes. We are a licensed general contractor, so our organization has a number of skilled staff in construction. I mean, everybody's skilled, but we also have a big construction team that goes out and works on these projects. We also use a number of licensed skilled contractors that we sub out to. Right now, because the demand is so high in Mecklenburg, we're not currently accepting more applications in Mecklenburg until next year because we have so many that qualify that we have to work through those. So we're still out in the community with tons of work. We just can't continue to accept applications when we know that, you know, we're not going to get to somebody for the next year. So we are keeping a list. So if somebody calls our office, we're keeping a list of people to notify them when our application process does reopen so they can be, you know, have a heads up and get their application ready in order to apply. Our program is income-based, so the same numbers for the homes program that looked like it was 80% of the area median income. That's generally what we follow. So for a household of one, it was like that $59,400. It goes up incrementally for every additional member in your household. Some of our programs or some of our funding sources only let us go up to 50% of the area median income. So the maximum we go to is 80%, but sometimes it's lower depending on that funding source. What else? I think that
You're right
that's
on
all.
time.
Good morning. Excuse me. My name is Miles Vaughn. I'm with the City of Charlotte's Department of Housing and Neighborhood Services, and essentially that's the city department that pretty much oversees all of the city's affordable housing related activities. So that entails everything from the production, construction, and preservation of affordable housing, homeownership opportunities as well, and of course, as per the theme of today's discussion, our critical repair efforts is included as well there. And essentially, the critical repair efforts that we undertake there is based upon several themes and programmatic initiatives that the city has there, one of which is that of, we call it staying in place, where a number of city departments coordinate between each other there to make sure that residents that have historically lived in areas, particularly areas that are rapidly gentrifying, are afforded the opportunity to stay in their homes as their property taxes increases, and as some of them that are on fixed income are not able to keep up with some of the deferred maintenance needs there. We're there to step in partnership with the county, partners like Rebuilding America, as well as others there with regard to helping those households stay in their homes and address the appropriate repair programs there. And from a repair perspective, we have several programmatic initiatives that specifically target seniors as well there. So whether it's our Safe Home program, where a senior or an income qualified household can receive up to $50,000 in repairs for their homes there. We have our Lead Safe program as well, where we can come in and do lead remediation efforts there, as well as our emergency repair program, where we have a cap on that one. I think it's about $10,000 per repair, but essentially that's for immediate life and safety threatening repairs that are conducted under that initiative there. But all in all, we can't do it alone. It's in partnership with our stakeholders, it's in partnership with the community, and definitely really realizing and open to thoughts, recommendations, ideas in terms of how we can do it as best as we can. And so we're out to try to make an impact in the community and serve the community as well. Thank you.
Okay, did we get everyone? That was wonderful, thank you. We have,
Good morning. I'd like to say two other organizations were invited, Habitat and For the Struggle, and they were unable to come, but we wanted to kind of have everyone. Again, thank you for coming. My question has to do, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and how that got you to where you are now serving our community, and the number of years you need to be in your house before you can be eligible?
So the number of years to be eligible, we don't have a specific requirement on that for our programs. You just have to live in the home, but there's not a specific time period. So me, I started as a volunteer, and I jokingly say I let Rebuilding Together take over my life, and just gradually got more and more involved. But I worked for a bank in Charlotte, as one does, and the bank I was working for provided volunteer days where you can go out on the clock and volunteer in the community. So of course I wanted to take advantage of that and found Rebuilding Together that way. I wanted to do something where I could learn some skills, and also have a very tangible way to give back. And there's nothing more tangible than, like, my favorite thing is ripping out old carpet and putting in like vinyl plank flooring. It is so satisfying. So that's what kind of hooked me. So I started as a volunteer, and a couple years later I joined the board of directors. At that time we didn't have any other staff, and it was really just about figuring out how we can kind of grow this fledgling organization to really, be serving more of the need in Charlotte. So in 2018, we got a little bit of kind of seed funding, which is really rare for nonprofits to get, just when somebody funds and just says, you know, here's money to grow your capacity. So with that, I decided to quit my corporate job and be the first full-time executive director at Rebuilding Together Greater Charlotte. And I have a team of about 12. So it's grown a lot from being no employees to the sole employee to now a big team of people that can keep things going. So that's it.
Well, for the city's home repair programs, the amount of time that you have to live in your home, it has to be your primary residence, of course, but that can vary. But our staff just does a wonderful job of walking potential applicants through that process and making sure that they understand it thoroughly there. In terms of my personal passion and involvement, I've been with the city now close to 7 years, but I've been involved in affordable housing over 40 years practically there. And it all started back home in New York City, where I grew up in some of the tougher neighborhoods, Harlem, South Bronx. They're neighborhoods that, in many instances, did not receive the same level of resources and time and attention that others received. But one of the key resources that my community had was the people. And we had Miss Daisy, Miss Johnson, and Mr. Cofield, who, no matter how bad or good you were, they kept you straight. And if you did something out of order, they took care of it right there on the spot. And then your parents took care of it after you got home there. So what that did was it instilled in me and many of my colleagues and friends a sense of passion for our community, and also that of giving back. I was the first in my household to go off to college there. My parents always made it clear that when I would come home, look, give back. You know, people made sacrifices for you to do and be where you are there. So don't get so high and mighty that you forget where you've come from. And that has always been with me in all of my professional endeavors, to say the least there. Before joining the city, I was on the verge of, considering, let's say, retirement or semi-retirement when I was asked to join the department. And one of the things that really motivated me to do so was the fact that the city of Charlotte does some phenomenal things in terms of thinking out of the box, being creative, and trailblazers with regard to addressing the city's affordable housing needs there. So it's been good. We've had an impact. We know that we cannot do it alone. It takes partnerships across the board, corporate, philanthropic, you name it there, but most importantly, keeping the community engaged there. So it's a good feeling when you go to work and feel good about what you do there, and that's clearly what I do.
Kim Oliver again. So I was born and raised in San Diego, California. So I come from a very large city, but with humble beginnings. My grandfather was the first black Lutheran minister in San Diego, and you don't see a whole lot of black Lutherans, but he instilled in me, his only grandchild at the time, that you have to be able to give back and serve your community. Missions is what the Lutheran faith is all about, giving back what you're blessed with, whatever that is. And so he did instill that in my mother. My mother passed it down to me as well. Before I came to the city of Charlotte, I've been here about 17 years. Before I came here, I was the homeless services coordinator at the city of San Diego. That was very humbling. I did that for about 6 or 7 years. Your idea of winter is not San Diego's idea of winter. So out there, back then, before climate change was really taken seriously, winters were in the 50s. And here, 50s was like flip-flop weather for some of the students. So I ran the winter shelter program, So we saw families. Families were uprooted, unfortunately, because only the women and children could be kept together, and the men, if there was an intact family, the men had to go to a shelter or somewhere else. That was heartbreaking. Then we also had a men and women's shelter, and then we had a veterans shelter. And what was heartbreaking about that was seeing so many young veterans, and seeing veterans come back year after year, and then I start recognizing their names, recognizing them by face, and then they knew me by name and all of that. One of my most humbling experiences there was actually being asked to do a eulogy for somebody I didn't know who died in my shelter. So that was really tough, but they asked me to do it. It was an honor to do it for a vet. I didn't know, but I got through it, and that was a very interesting experience. Flash forward to where I am now, or a little before that. My colleague to my left, Miles and I didn't work together directly all the time, but I worked for the city of Charlotte. That's probably, I got one of those faces. People are like, God, you look familiar. And there was one time I literally had to tell somebody, I literally had to convince somebody, I am not your cousin Ruby. I'm not your cousin Ruby. You look just like, I'm not your cousin Ruby, I swear. So I worked with the city of Charlotte for 15 years with the elected officials. And flash forward finally to where I am now. It was time to do something different. It was time to narrow down a little bit, because when you work with elected officials, you have to know a little bit about a lot of things. You have to be a generalist, because when constituents call, they don't care. They want you to know what their situation is and be able to resolve it. So I figured it was time to do something else. Nobody serves elected officials for 15 years. So I actually ended up at the Canopy Housing Foundation. And again, the foundation is the charitable arm of the Charlotte Realtors Association, and one of our signature events is Realtors Care Day. Realtors Care Day allows 350 of our realtor volunteers to assist with critical home repair. There's a lot of criteria that goes with that. Our applications come out every single year around April during Fair Housing Month. So it's been a wonderful experience, and all throughout the year we have grant opportunities that a lot of people don't know about. I would love to be able to tell you if you ask the questions. So again, happy to be here from my humble beginnings, but Charlotte is home now. Thank you.
Quick shout outs I'll give. And so Mr. Miles is actually my neighbor, like literally across the street. I had no idea what he did until this very moment today. And I just want to attest to the story he's said about his upbringing. When we first moved to home, I've been there for 4 years now. They've been there for almost 20, they've been for a long time. He was the first one to tell us, put your trash out on this day, don't park on the street. Like just the things that around the neighborhood. He came up to my mom and I, let us know what happens. He texts me if my garage door is open. And he doesn't know this, but he's one of the homes that I've told my son, if something ever happens to mommy, that is run across the street to that house. And so I just want to attest to, he lives out what he brings to his role every day. And then Ms. Kim here with the Canopy Foundation, the city actually received a donation from them this year for the very first time, and their realtors came to volunteer with us as an organization. So also attesting to their work in the community. So no, I meant to say it earlier, but gonna say chance. And so how did I get into this work? I often joke that I am one of the only people on our team that has absolutely no construction background or experience. My start in the nonprofit area really began with my service with Teach for America. When I was Jackie, you playing a good question. With Teach for America, I'm born and raised in Greensboro, North Carolina. Went to Elon University in my senior year. I joined Teach for America, the first from my university to do so. I got in my Toyota Camry and drove to the border of Texas and Mexico, where I was a high school English teacher for 3 years. And it was there that my heart for community service was born. I often say the poverty that we see here is not the poverty that's on the border of Texas and Mexico. It opened my eyes, to a different world, and what it solidified for me was truly, if there is not access to affordable housing, workforce development, transportation, the infrastructure of a community, if that's not intact, no matter what we did in the four walls of that classroom, it wasn't going to go anywhere. And so it took me a while to get to that revelation, but once I got there, I was like, yeah, we have to do more to support our students. Went and got my master's in business with the desire to focus more on nonprofits, and because with nonprofits, often they're led by a lot of heart, but not a whole lot of business savvy. So I didn't want to do that. I wanted to come in with the business acumen to be able to grow an organization that I was passionate about. I came to Charlotte with an organization called Citizen Schools. Those of you who've been here for a while might remember. We were, my first school placement was Martin Luther King Middle School. And then I served there for 5 years as a program director. And then the affordable housing numbers began to become front and center for the community. I left at that point education as a whole to say, community development is my heart and passion because it all traces back. No matter what we do within the classroom, whether it's a support service, a Boys and Girls Club, whatever it is, those things are needed. But if we as a community don't get our infrastructure together, their outcomes are not going to change. And so I left in pursuit of other avenues. I met the founder of She Built This City. Her name is Demi Knight Clark in 2020. It was a nothing, it was an idea, it was a business plan, but she got early momentum and support from the Lowe's Foundation. And I watched and cheered from the sidelines. In June of 2020, she called me, she got her first grant, so similar to Beth, got her first grant, and I was the first staff member of She Built This City. I came on in June of 2020. My son was about 3 years old. It was the middle of the pandemic. It was a nonprofit no one heard of, but I believed in the mission. It made sense. It was like, because you could look out your window in the middle of the pandemic and everything had stopped, but what? Construction. I said, if this is something that's on here, like I can figure this out. And then you have a whole population, 50% of the population is women who have been disengaged in this conversation, and saying that we are used to hard work. We are used to dirty jobs. We just are not used to getting paid well for them. And so when you make the transition from being on your feet all day as a cash register in a retail space to being on your feet all day on a construction site, one of them pays $30 an hour. And so choose the one, let's each qualify to choose the one that pays $30 an hour. And so that's my passion, generational wealth building, of opportunities within the construction industry.
I just love being up here with all these wonderful people and just seeing what we're all doing. As far as the homes program, you have to be in your home for at least 3 years. You have to be the owner of the home to qualify. But how I got into this field, I am a social worker. So it's in my heart. And I came in the field because my own background growing up and seeing the struggles. And then when I came into the field of social work, I worked with the homeless population. I worked with Workforce Employment Services, where we were helping individuals find employment so that they could find stable housing, be able to afford stable housing. And because it's not just about only having the money for stable housing, it's also having the community and having the support system and having all of that childcare, all of that feeds into being able to afford a home and maintain a home on whatever level that home is. And so that's what drives me. I love to see people become successful in their own rights. And so being a social worker has always been my passion. And then leading up to this position, just like I said, being able to keep people in their homes. And as you know, a couple of years back and a couple of administrations back, we had so many individuals who lost their home due to the mortgage issues that were happening at that time. And so through this program, we are able to assist with them, at least with their property taxes, to lower that bill. Also in my former older neighborhood, I lived in a group of just older individuals who were retired and they had that fixed income. And so as you know, as taxes get higher, that changes how much they have to be able to put towards their bills. And so this program is really going to be able to assist them to maintain their homes for the long run. So that's just my passion. That's why I'm here. But I'm glad to be on this panel because this is just wonderful. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much, Tommy.
Yes,
Then Winston.
when I was young, I was an actress. And I want to know, why you don't use more low-income people on your construction sites. Because construction is basically 20% professional, 80% labor. So why you don't use more of the people who qualify for the homes on these construction sites instead of paying somebody $30 an hour? Because most of construction is labor.
So we do. We have an apprentice, we work with apprentices from workforce development partners like She Built This City, like Goodwill. We actually, through funding from the city of Charlotte, were able to pay apprentices, and we had to verify that they were from low-income households. So that has been, and we pay them, you know, $18, $20 an hour.
That's not my question.
Okay.
My question is, like, people who qualify for the houses, instead of them sitting at home, why don't you use them on the construction site as laborers?
Gotcha. Yeah. Why don't we use the actual residents in the household as laborers? Most of the time, it's because they are not able-bodied. A lot of the time, they are older adults or have physical disabilities, and they're not. And that's one of the reasons why, you know, their house has fallen into disrepair. Also, you know, combined with not being able to afford repairs. We do welcome people who want to, you know, volunteer and work on their home. But yes, so that most of the time they're not able to.
Oh, so you just deal with senior citizens?
Not only, but primarily the people that are both income qualified, and some of our funding sources require like that there's a special need. So like either somebody is disabled or, you know, they're an older adult, or they have a large family with kids. There are different qualifications in addition to income. So most of the time it's that they're not able-bodied and able to help out. But a lot of times they do everything that they can, you know, preparing the area for us, boxing things up, getting ready, sweeping up the floor, things like that.
I was gonna say, we do hire directly from the communities that we serve. We don't always do the exact person that live in the home.
That's not my question.
Dad, we don't go back and forth. Mr. Robinson, excuse me. Mr. Robinson, we don't go back and forth. You ask your question, you get your answer.
And I was gonna say,
You gotta let her.
We'll come back to you, Tommy, okay?
I was gonna say, it's an excellent question, and I think we are the ones you can hold accountable for that. However, it is the the for-profit construction industry that we want to see more of that. And so needing job training programs like a Goodwill, like a She Built This City that can take them, because you can't, yes, they're laborers, but they need to have some OSHA. They need to have some safety standards. They need to know, you know, which tools to use. So they need to have some sort of qualification for their own safety and that of the job site, as well as for qualification for other funding. And so we are working to do that thing, and we're trying to hold our partners that are in the for-profit space accountable to the same, so that they have to check off boxes. You know, you don't want to simplify it to that, but for HUD and other funding manners, you do want to, they're supposed to recruit directly from the community to be able to be on the job sites. But it isn't as simple as taking them from the bedroom to the job site. We want to make sure that they have the qualifications. And there are programs like She Built This City, Goodwill, Urban League that are doing what they can to get them the qualifications to get on that job site. Because you said they don't have to pay $30 an hour. It's our goal to pay them that much or to get them to that area. So while they may be able to make a certain amount at a regular job or a minimum wage job, it is our hope to take them, to give them the qualifications to be able to make that $30 an hour, to be able to invest back into their community. I still don't think I answered your question, but I tried.
Good morning. Good morning. So my question is basically really seeing what your thoughts are. I would love to have to see what you think about the intersectionality between critical home repair, affordable housing, and the lack of home ownership, specifically in Black communities. Of course, we know from history and policy, Black people we weren't able to participate in the home ownership process as other Americans, but after 1968, which leads to the gaps in home ownership, wealth disparity, so on and so forth. So we have a high rate of rental residents. However, with the critical home repair being subjected to homeowners, in-resident homeowners, there is a gap in affordable housing, which is basically left upon the goodwill of those individual owners. So how could we, as a society, or from the services you offer, meet that gap and bring it together so affordable housing could naturally occur, like the buzzwords that we're hearing today with naturally occurring affordable housing?
I'll say that, again, when you think of it, when you hear the term realtor, you're thinking something else. You're not thinking leader. You're not thinking educator. You're not thinking advocate. You're not thinking fundraiser. And those are all of the things that our realtors do. We're actually pushing our realtors to have more leadership in our communities, to be able to serve the community. A lot of people may not necessarily know about Realtors Care Day. We are seeing more and more seniors take advantage of that. We had a senior come to us who was 100 years old last year. And when I say I didn't do my yoga this morning, that lady put me to shame, because she was here, there, and everywhere. Her family came with her to turn in her application. My point in all of this is making sure that you all know that there are realtors out here who care for their communities that they serve in. We do have applications available every single year for our critical repair program, because we want to keep homeowners, and a lot of these homeowners are African American seniors who are impacted by gentrification. We want to be able to keep them in their homes, and to be able to do so, sometimes they can't do that financially and or physically. So a lot of people don't necessarily know that there is a foundation out there that has this event every single year, where tons of realtors are out there, 15 to 16 sites, households, every single year. We don't get our funding from the government. We get our funding from in-kind donations. We solicit funding from our realtors. We said, look, hey, y'all are blessed to sell a house. We're trying to keep people in their houses. Help us help this community. Y'all do the work of the community. Get out there and let people know that it's not just about selling the house. Because just like there's Girl Scout cookies, Girl Scouts can sell some cookies, but they may not necessarily be able to bake the cookies. Realtors are out there selling a house. They may not necessarily know how to build a house, but they can actually help with critical repairs for those homes. And when I tell you, this is such a wonderful program. We started in 2009. We have been doing critical repairs for 15 years. This was the 15th year of that program. And the economic impact was about $1.2 million. So when I say we need to learn more, our realtors are out there every day also pushing about what the foundation is about. Our application is available every single year around April. Our deadline is around the end of March, and we are here to help people stay in their homes, no matter if they're 25 and own the home or 100 and own the home.
And just to piggyback off what was already said, I believe it's the education of home ownership, if that's the goal of where you're trying to go to. A lot of people rush into owning a home because they believe that's what they're supposed to do. I get a good job, and then now let me get a home, especially when you have young children. You want to put them in a good neighborhood and things of that nature. But understanding the cost of owning a home and all of the costs, not just the mortgage every month, but all of the costs. And that education starts at that young man's age back there. We have to start teaching money matters at an early age and how that builds upon, and then making sure that people have that education that's going to give them a job, whatever that education is, that's going to give them a job to be able to afford stable housing, affordable housing, and then building upon there, having realtors, like you said, that are not just there to sell the home, but also to educate the customer on all the facets that go into that. So when you put all of that together, then that makes a really good mix. And then as we, like you're saying, with the older population, helping them understand and knowing the resources that are available. Like, I love that we're all here and that it's being broadcast, that people can see this, because there are a lot of resources out there that can help individuals. They just don't know how to connect to them. And so we have to get the word out there so that they are aware of it. But as far as the homes program, we can help reduce that tax value, because that's a major issue now. People can afford their mortgage and things like that, but as the tax value of your home is going up, that bill's increasing, and so we can help reduce that. Because I would hate to see anyone lose their home because they can't pay their taxes. So I just want to add that in.
Just real quick. Ditto, the jobs, I wanted to just connect. I think sometimes in Charlotte we have the conversations in silos, like it's affordable housing, then it's workforce development, but they need to go together. So ensuring that we're giving people the jobs that they can so they can live where they want to, regardless. But Winston, you hit the nail on the head. The intersectionality of the decisions that we make up here really affects the ability to bring generational wealth. I also serve on the board of Dream Key Partners, and one of the biggest things that we discuss is the fact that we don't do deed restrictions, and that is a sticking point for some, because there's some in this space that believe that in order to keep the homes affordable, that homeowner has a deed restriction where they cannot sell it above X, Y, and Z. But we do know that selling your home and having equity in the home is a path to generational wealth. And so we're telling people who are already at a disadvantage, you can have this home, but you can't make no money off of it. You can't, so it's one of those things whereas we are perpetuating the cycle of, well, you gotta stay where you are, you cannot go above because of the desire to keep that home affordable. So I know that's a sticking point here, but we have to begin to have those kinds of conversations, because are we perpetuating some of this staying where you are, not being able to move you and your family up because of the restrictions we put on homes when they receive support and repairs?
The intersection, as you mentioned, there is a critical one in terms of, for a number of low to moderate income households, their home is their most valuable asset. So you certainly want to put households on a pathway to home ownership as a means of generating generational wealth as well as equity within that home as well. The approach that the city takes is two sort of pronged there. On the production side, in terms of actually building or providing funding to actually build homes for home ownership, as well as helping to keep folks in their homes and providing on the back end down payment assistance to help them to purchase their homes. So on that side of things, in terms of our down payment assistance program that is administered by Dream Key Partners there, we make sure that not only can low to moderate income households obtain the funds to purchase a home, but also stay in their homes, because in order to receive that funding, they have to undergo a pretty rigorous home ownership education training, whereby they're made aware of the responsibilities of home ownership. It's not just paying your mortgage, it's not just paying your property taxes, there's a slew of other opportunities and responsibilities that it entails as well. So we want to prepare them for that responsibility there. And I think we've been somewhat successful, because if you look at our default rate with regard to those households that have received that sort of formal education there versus the national tendencies and patterns there, we have a much lower default rate there. Those homeowners are determined to stay in their homes and making the sacrifices as necessary as well there. On the production side there, what the city does is provide funding to developers to build high quality, affordable home ownership opportunities there. Because in order to build an affordable home, you can't just say, well, I'm just gonna slap a couple of paint on something and put some drywall up there. That home has to be of a high standard and quality. But if you're gonna sell it at a lower price there, you got a gap there between the quality to build it, the cost to build it, versus what you're selling it for. That's where the city comes into play. We'll provide gap financing to developers to actually build a high quality product. And lastly, putting our money where our mouth is, they're using other city resources such as city-owned land to build affordable housing. We have a number of developments where we've put out requests for proposals for developers to build affordable homeownership opportunities, single-family detached, accessory dwelling units, townhomes, you name it there, on city-owned land, because one of the key costs to building a home is the land basis there. But if we provide the land at a reduced or zero basis there, that enables the developers to sell that home at a much more affordable price point.
Just want to make a quick plug for A Home for All. It's a initiative that the United Way is spearheading, but all of us here are represented within that. Critical repair is, of course, a big part of preserving affordable homeownership. but parts of a Home for All are focused on more, opportunities for affordable rentals, getting more landlords to participate in voucher programs, more production of building affordable homes for rental and home ownership. So it's just, we are laser focused on the critical repair side, but it is reassuring to me to be in this space to know that so many other partners are looking at this and all the different ways that housing in all of the spectrum is needed and needs to increase in affordability and just quantity. So definitely check out A Home for All.
Thank you. Y'all said a mouthful because a person who's out here a lot, I've never heard of Home for All. And then I think the other lady said something about an application, which is you have it at a certain time and then it's over at a certain time. I have never heard about that. So a person, I think that's our problem, that we don't know what's out here, number one. As seniors, they call me quite often and ask me, I'm about to lose my home, even my daughter, I'm about to lose my home, I'm about to lose this. And I don't know where to send them and stuff. I don't know if you have to bury it so deep that we can't find it. So, and I'm glad that Ms. Reed is here because I saw her at a center and she was telling me about her program. And I said, you sure if I can afford, most of the time fixed incomes as seniors is almost like we still can't get it because we make a couple of dollars more. That's a big problem right now. We gotta do something about that because you're not helping us seniors. Because we make this much more, you're not helping us. And so, but we still got all these bills and nobody looks at us. So we need to look at that. Now, the last thing on this piece, and the question is too, because I help Lake Arbor, and I'm sure y'all familiar with Lake Arbor. The thing is that we still have a lot of things going on like that with affordable homes and stuff. My daughter has already called me talking about she's about to lose hers, and now I gotta go out and struggle. If I can help somebody else, I gotta help her. So how can we do a better job in sharing this information? Because some people got it and get it, because all the applications you got, mine is not in there. Okay, okay, wait a minute, mine is not in there, so I need it in there.
So, like many application processes or applications, whether you're filling out an application for a job or filling out an application to go into a major program or university, whatever an application is, there's always more applications than can be accepted. However, when we let our realtors know this is your program inside here, you need to get out and spread the word. And also for the Canopy Housing Foundation, we also coordinate with the City of Charlotte, their Housing and Neighborhood Services folks. So when you all are out there at town hall meetings for your respective elected officials, and they're covering housing issues, whether it's affordable housing or whatever it is, if Housing and Neighborhood Services is there, and they know that the Canopy Housing Foundation's application process for Realtors Care Day is coming up, they have our applications. And if they don't have our applications, they know that they can contact me to get it. All of you in this room, I have tons of business cards. And in addition to those, on those business cards is our website that shows you everything you would want to know about Realtors Care Day. And if there are some things on there that are not answered or addressed that you want to ask questions about, I'm here. You can call me, you can email me, I'll provide you with my business card. We definitely need to get the word out more because we don't work in silos. We don't like to work in silos, and that is not the impression that we want to give because we're all in it for affordable housing, fair and affordable housing, keeping people in their homes. And for us specifically, we don't care if you're 20, 25 years old or 100, 105 years old. For our home, we definitely require that the person who lives in the home be the one who apply for this particular project. What we don't want is realtors kind of sneaking it in there and saying, getting easy labor for fixing up a house that they don't live in. So that's not the gist. But the point is, For us, we definitely collaborate and always looking for opportunities to collaborate across the board with various entities, municipalities, various Habitat for Humanities to be able to provide more information, provide more opportunities for critical home repair. So again, I'll be happy to give you my information at the end and answer additional questions for you for our program.
Give it to Steve too, so we can have it. Yes, ma'am, we need it. Yes,
I was just going to keep the question back to you and ask, where do you get your information so that we can be a part of those sources? I know that with some of the communities, She Built This City, Rebuilding Together, Habitat, we'll go to neighborhood meetings. So if we meet on Wednesday night with a potluck, we'll be there to present. It's just a matter of us knowing how to connect with you. And so my question back to you is, where do you find out your information so that we can be showing up in those places? Steve?
Okay, I'll let her talk to you after, okay, but that's a great
Let's
question.
all give the information to Steve so we
Okay.
can contact him.
Yes,
Okay.
if
Because
you
we don't
give
have
your
it.
information to Steve.
Absolutely.
I was just gonna add that probably the easiest thing is calling 211. We get referrals from them. Nonprofits are asked to update our profiles with United Way 211. So if you have somebody in need, 211 is a good, they try to be kind of generalists in all the areas to know what resources are out there. Their information is only as good as what we provide them. So it's on, community partners to update our information with them, but that's probably a good, first try. And then, if somebody calls us needing resources, if we can't help them, we know so many people in these areas that we'd never want to, have a phone call where we say, well, you're not qualified for our program or we can't help you, but this is the next stop. So call She Built the City, call Habitat. We don't work on rentals at this time, but maybe somebody else does. So it's always about trying to connect them. So just making that first call, and that first call, a good one is 211.
That's an excellent point. 211 is one of the city's housing and neighborhood services units there that does a phenomenal job of directing folks to the various city and county resources available to them. But by and large, the key to us getting the word out there, not just the city, but all of these stakeholders, is that of doing sessions like this. And hopefully it's our intent that we encounter someone who may not have heard anything about us, like yourself, ma'am, because then we've opened up another door in that regard there, because it's all about getting the word out there and leveraging the community to the greatest extent possible, whether it's our community engagement team and others that connect with the stakeholders and let them continue to hold us accountable there. So thank you for sharing the fact that you didn't know, and if there are others who didn't know, please make sure you obtain the appropriate information and pass that information on to others that you think may not know as well.
And I just wanted to piggyback 1 second. I agree with what everybody already mentioned. And the biggest factor, like was already said, was just getting the information out here. So panels like this, the homes program, we are out in the community. These are my 2 program coordinators who are out making sure that we get this information out to everyone who needs it. We also have flyers back here if you want some flyers. But that's the important step, is making sure that we get out in the community and make it aware. But we do have the Department of Community Resources that we are under. And if you were to go online and just put in Department of Community Resources, you'll find a whole wealth of information of the resources that we provide at our agency.
We're going to have to keep the questions to the 30 seconds, and you're going to have to try and keep the answers to a minute, because we're running out of time, and we want to make sure everybody's question gets answered.
Okay, 30 seconds. This is for Beth. Can you tell me approximately, and each one of you really, but for Tanika and Beth, with the urgency program, and did you all do lead-based paint? Or do you do the lead-based payment? If you can tell us how many you have serviced this year, and each one of you can tell us just the number of people that you've serviced so far this year. And if there is an opportunity for you all to have maybe a quarterly workshop with this group coming together with other groups to share this information, because this is some information that needs to be shared. in Charlotte right now? So I'll start with Beth, with the question that I asked you about the city, but the rest of them, I just want the number of people that you service.
As far as lead-based paint, so homes built in 1978 and prior, we have to follow lead-safe practices. Our team, all of our construction staff are trained and certified in the EPA's RRP, which is repair, remodeling, and painting. I forget the exact acronym, but that's a training that all of our staff go through. We're a lead certified firm. Now, when it comes to projects under $25,000 don't require full lead abatement. It basically means that if we are going to be disturbing any lead-based paint, then we follow lead-safe practices, which means, you know, PPE and being safe about it so that dust isn't spreading. There's no exposure. If it's more than $25,000, we hire a lead certified abatement firm that will do that work properly, and then they have a clearance where they make sure that everything's clean, dust hasn't spread. We're doing everything by the book. So for the total number of projects, we're on a fiscal year. We just ended a fiscal year. We served about 50 households with major repairs. Our goal for this year is to serve at least 60 households. And again, those are, you know, at least, you know, on average $30,000 projects, sometimes $50,000 projects. It could take a couple months of work.
Can you give us quickly the zip code?
So we now serve 5 counties. Our biggest concentration has been Hidden Valley for the past couple of years, which is part of our Building a Healthy Neighborhood program. So in that neighborhood alone, we've probably repaired at least 40 houses over the past couple of years. And we're in North Mecklenburg neighborhoods like Smithville, Pottstown, West Davidson, East Catawba. That's our other geographic focus. And then in 2025, we'll be moving into another Charlotte neighborhood once we finish with our approved applications in Hidden Valley.
I would have to get back to you with the actual count that we've serviced this year. That I want to speak to our program manager, and I'll make sure I get that information to you in that regard there. But our Safe Lead program, there is one similar, Beth, to yours, whereby the home has to be built 1978 or prior to. And it's one that we really encourage use of there because for the most part, you can leverage that program along with our Safe Home program. So if the Safe Home program maxes, let's say $50,000 per unit, and we could do another 10 to 15 or even 20,000 with regard to the Safe Lead program there, you're looking at easily anywhere from $60,000 to $70,000 to go toward that unit there. And we intentionally try to leverage the two where we maximize the amount of funding that can go toward abating lead as well as conducting some of the needed repairs for them. But the Safe Lead program is a viable one. It's a year-long application process there, and we strongly encourage households to apply there. That program, the area median income requirement is a little bit higher for the most part as opposed to our Safe Home program, but it's certainly one that we encourage the use of there.
You have kids under 6.
You have to have kids under 6 there. You have to have a child in the household there. So if you're a grandparent, you don't have to, it doesn't have to be your child. It could be your grandchild or children that you're actually caring, providing care to. That's one of the
For us in particular, the Canopy Housing Foundation, our Realtors Care program, since the inception of the program, we served about 331 households / families. This year, it's maybe about 20 homes. A lot of them, again, are seniors. A lot of these are older homes and older structures, but I did want to take the opportunity to tell you what specifically we have done in the past. So give you an idea. Yes, give you an idea of the scope. We have done deck and porch repair, replaced rotten wood, gutter repair, debris removal, landscaping, and removal of particular, what do you call it, the little sheds, door repair, and we actually do disabled wheelchair ramps. We don't do them on an often basis, it's more circumstantial. So just to give you an idea of what specifically our realtors do, and it's only a one-day program. Only one day, from 8 a.m. till about 4 p.m.
We are about a year older than that. You've done about 45 homes. We do a similar scope of what Kim just noted, and but our budget, to give you comparison, whereas they're $30,000 to $50,000, we're like $2,000 to $5,000 level of repairs.
And for the homes program, we serviced about 4,000 applications last year. Approvals. This year we're already at, we started July 1, we're already at over 1,000 applications that have come into the office. Over 1,200 applications that have come through, and so we're expecting to increase our numbers as we continue on.
Yes, I work for the CRC at Ella B. Scarborough, and we constantly have a lot of customers. Oh, okay, it's the Community Resource Center. So we do see a lot of customers that come in from the streets asking about different services that are available. We do have a lot of resources to give out to the public. I know in my digging, I have found out about a lot of programs that are here offered in Mecklenburg County. And like the lady spoke earlier, what I'm finding out is a lot of people are not aware of these programs. It's like a lot of services are the umbrella of another service. So it's kind of hard to pinpoint how to give these customers the referrals. The one lady, I do have something I would like to get your contact information, because we do have like a community partner services, and we do have a lot of times where we have different agencies come in and sit in our lobby to give out this information. So I think that, and matter of fact, this lady here came in yesterday wanting to know about household repair. So my question is, other than the 211 referrals that we already give, what is the referrals and the applications, and do y'all have anything that we can give out to the public?
Well, one of the things that we can sort of provide you, and if you want, I could talk to you offhand, is that of, we have a one-pager that pretty much lists all of the city's affordable housing related activity there. On that site, on that page, one-pager is a link to the various sites on the city's website that provides information on it as well. So I will start there. And of course, myself and my colleagues are always willing to participate in the sort of like information sharing sessions that you may have there, such as this there, where we share that information as well.
Same, yeah, we would love to come to any info sessions. Like I mentioned earlier, our application's currently closed because we had such demand this year. So we are keeping an active wait list, not a wait list, but an interest list to notify people when it reopens. So yeah, we can send out a one-pager, or our website also has a program eligibility survey that people can complete, or a referral partner can complete with them on the phone. That's what we typically do to make sure that somebody's not wasting their time in submitting an application if maybe they are over income or they don't meet another eligibility. We have a really easy to use program eligibility survey on our website that people can first click through to see if they're even eligible before submitting an application. And when they complete that, if they are eligible, it will put them on the list so that we'll notify them when our applications reopen.
Yeah.
We'll definitely follow up so that we can be at whatever resource fair. Our applications are found on our website. We don't have a backlog just yet, but we also haven't been advertising directly just because of the capacity to be able to do the repairs. But SheBuiltTheCity.org, what we do, critical home repair. You can find our application, you can fill it out directly online.
And same with us, the applications for the Realtors Care Day doesn't become available until January of 2025 for the 2025 program, and the deadline would be at the end of March. But I'm happy to talk to you about any kind of questions you have as it relates to what the criteria is, and you can take my business card if you can't remember your question today or want to call me or email me later.
And I just want to say thank you to her for bringing that up. Yes, the community service, our Department of Community Resources and our CRCs, Community Resources Centers, we have a wealth of information. We have a wealth of services that can be provided. And like I was saying before, we do have all these different entities within Mecklenburg County that we do need to collaborate more on and bring people together so that we are servicing, since we're servicing the same people, we need to be providing providing them with the same information and connecting them to the resources. So yes, if we can share information today and get everybody's information so that we can put that in our centers, and then you can have our information to share with your the people that you're servicing, that would be excellent. We do have flyers here, like I said before, of our services, so if anybody wants to take that, our website is mecnc.gov/4homes. If you need additional information, it gives all the information of our program.
Okay, Tom.
Yes, Ms. Beth, my question is, like if you have a pool of people sitting around waiting on assistance, why don't you use these people as laborers on building the houses?
Well, I think the biggest thing is we need to make sure that the services we're delivering are at the up to building code, done with the highest quality, which means that we need to supervise them. And we only have so much capacity on our staff to be able to do that. All of our staff, like LaToya mentioned, they go through their OSHA training to be able to manage work sites safely. They have their lead training. This is not just a field that you can just jump into and do, So, I mean, we do use volunteers under the supervision of our skilled construction staff. It's just a matter of, this is work that to do a good job, it's not something that you can, do very, very quickly if you're doing a whole home rehabilitation. So we're talking, roof replacement, HVAC, subfloors. We go into homes where the toilet's sinking through the floor. That's not just replacing a toilet. You have to get in a crawl space, you have to replace that rotten wood, you might have to call in a structural engineer, you have to get inspections. It's just, construction unfortunately is, when we can go in and do one of those quick hit projects, it's great, and that's why we need partners who can respond quickly, but not all repairs can be done that way. So as we're currently hiring, we're trying to do this work quickly, but we're not going to compromise our quality to be able to serve more people. We need to make sure that we're doing everything with an eye for quality and safety.
Morning. The question, the challenge of affordable housing has been going on for a long time. You hear me? Here? I'm sorry. The challenge of affordable housing has been going on for a long time. In the city of Charlotte, we've been discussing this for a long time, and I still don't think sometimes we've adequately defined affordable housing. As our population continues to grow and our population ages, this challenge is going to continue. It's just not a challenge for Charlotte. It's every major city, and even in cities like Rock Hill, South Carolina, they're having. Well, the question is, how do you think we're doing in this area? Because you guys are on board with this and you're doing it every day. So how do you think Charlotte's doing in the affordable housing arena, and what are the prospects going forward? I mean, what do you see in the future?
Back in 2019, I believe, we commissioned the Enterprise Foundation to give us a sense of what's the scope and magnitude of the need for affordable housing. We knew that there was a problem. We knew that there were things that we have in our toolbox to address it, but we wanted to get a good, firm handle on it. To date, there's a need for anywhere from 30,000 to 33,000 homes there. That's point blank. That's retail, rental, as well as homeownership along those lines. And the challenge, as you mentioned, is that the population growth that Charlotte is experiencing. It's not so much that we're doing anything wrong. It's this is a great place to live, quality of life, and so forth there. We're not going to build that number of units. We can't build our way out of it. But what we can do is take a multi-pronged approach in terms of, first and foremost, preserving affordable housing. So for those households that currently live in their homes or renting their homes, make sure they are able to continue to do so, and work on both the production as well as the preservation side of the coin as well there. So how we're doing, as quiet as it's kept, we're constantly reached out to by other municipalities across the country in terms of how are you doing that? How did you ramp up that housing trust fund? How did you launch this accessory dwelling unit pilot? How did you incentivize market rate, high-end market rate developers to include affordable housing in their developments, thereby offering them additional building height or length there? So it's all hands on deck, think out the box creatively and address it from that perspective there. And by and large, I'd say that, and I'm a little biased there, but I'd say that we've done a decent job. Have we solved the problem? There's no magic wand that you can wave to address that there. It's just an ongoing effort there. partnership with stakeholders like those that are at this panel.
And I would agree, we made progress, and so everyone is familiar with the Chetty study. When it first came out, we were 50 out of 50 in upward mobility. Now we're 38 out of 50. And so I think the numbers do show that we've made progress, but we have over 100 people moving to Charlotte a day. Some of those 100 make good money with well-paying jobs, and some of those do not. And so I think as we constantly receive more people into the community, we have to continue to reevaluate the need, and that need changes very quickly and sometimes overnight.
I'll also add that Rebuilding Together is a national network, so there's lots of other Rebuilding Togethers across the country. So when I talk to those leaders of the affiliate organizations, very few of them, if any, have the kind of collaborative environment that Charlotte has. You know, I mentioned a Home for All. We're all a part of that and represented. You know, we receive strong support from the city and the county. So we're I feel like doing everything we possibly can on the collaboration and getting to the point where things are going to be as seamless as possible going forward. So I think that's all a good sign. I guess we'll see how it turns out in the next few years or more.
And I think you need out-of-the-box thinking. Out-of-the-box thinking, addressing affordable housing. And you don't need just, you know, government entities or entities that may necessarily have their hands tied because government funding requires certain things that you do with their monies. You also need folks like us, folks like, again, our realtors that need that education to be able to help those people who own those homes, because again, realtors also need to be educated as it relates to dealing with African American homeowners, as it relates to dealing with LGBT communities, diversity, because that's what makes this whole country, that's what this whole country is composed of, is different people, and you need different people to be able to come to the table like our realtors come to the table, because you can't pay for $30 an hour labor all of the time, and we certainly understand that. Our realtors can assist with that effort. They don't have the construction know-how all of the time, but a lot of times that's not what's required. We would need to be able to keep people in their homes because they can't afford to go out there and get $50, $100 an hour handyman.
Sure.
Thank you guys for all being here. My question's pretty deep. I wanted to know how you measure your community engagement success, and then also ask if you guys are willing to activate your networks through social media and share today's panel with your community, so we can take a look at how that activates interest and spreads the word in what you guys are all doing.
Do you want more than one person to answer that question?
We can have one, that's fine.
One of the things that the city requires, let's say we're providing a developer with funding to build affordable housing, whether it's rental or home ownership, we require that they engage the community. They have to conduct a minimum of 2 community engagement meetings where they're informing the community of their intention, their proposed development in that regard. Oftentimes the community may say, well, you know, I like the exterior finishes, but you need to go with this sort of range of colors and so forth. So providing the community an opportunity to weigh in on some proposed development within their particular location is critical, and it's a requirement actually with regard to the city's approach.
And the Canopy Housing Foundation is on social media. We have a Twitter account, we do have Facebook, we do have folks that also look on TikTok. But one thing in particular may not necessarily have as much to do with this, but our grant funding process. A lot of people didn't know that we actually give out community grants every single year, and how we measure the success is by our applications that we get. Last year, we had an unprecedented number of 42 some odd applications. This year alone in 2024, we had an unprecedented number of 55 applications. So we are growing. People are finding out about us. But again, to Miles' point, and all of my colleagues up here, it's coming to events like this so we can spread the word, and then you also can spread the word as well.
Can you send us something you can share?
Okay. I'd like to say, on the realtor side, years ago with the realtors, there was the Fair and Affordable Housing Group that started the Realtors Who Care. And as Miles know, with the Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac products, you have to have the home buyer education and the home ownership counseling piece to it. Those are just comments. My question to you, Ms. Francis, is last year you did about 4,000. What is your goal for this year? Because right now at the pace you're going, it's going to be less than 10,000.
Well, we're actually getting out in the community, doing events like this so that people are aware of the services that we're providing. We're going out to all different types of organizations, businesses. We're going to fairs. We're going anywhere that we're invited. And then we're knocking down doors in places that we're not invited because we want to get this money spent. Because it's the money for the residents in the community of Mecklenburg County. And so we are getting out there, like I said, these are my two program coordinators. Their positions are to meet with people, to find out where we can advertise our services. We are on all social media platforms. And so, like I said, if we can get with anyone to give you that information that you can put on your platform as well, we're collaborating with the other towns in Mecklenburg County to make sure that the information is out there, just not to the citizens of Charlotte, but to the whole county. And so we are hoping to basically move this program to a whole nother level as we continue our advertising. You will see buses, you will see billboards, you will see ads on TV, commercials. We are in this to win, and winning means getting this money out to the citizens of Mecklenburg County.
I got another question. I wasn't going to even bring this up. So I'm an income property owner. However, I'm not like a corporate income property owner. And I made the mistake of not getting a property management company at first. So I met the person occupying the space, which humanized the situation. And now my rent for this property has been stagnant since 2016. And I know if the price were to go up, he could not afford it. And I know if he could not afford it, he would be homeless and likely dead within a year. So I wanted to know what, if you know of any, or if your organization offers assistance to smaller income property owners who intentionally keep rent affordable.
That is one of the pillars for a Home for All, to get more landlords eligible for the voucher program. So if that person will qualify for vouchers, that could subset a part of his rent that could help to keep it affordable. One of the other things the critical repair group is talking about is how to make our critical repairs an option for landlords like you who might be keeping a property subsidized and affordable for that tenant, but maybe you need help keeping up the property and maintaining it. That is an area that we want to get into. And a Home for All, that's one of the things that the critical repair pillar is talking about. How do we do that without, having a landlord, we don't want to put $20,000 into a property, then the landlord's like, oh, well, now I can get this person out and jack up the rent. That's the opposite of what we want to accomplish. So that's something I'm hoping will come to fruition in the next couple of years as we get more work done in that group. But yeah, we can reach out when we're ready to get feedback on that. But that's a big unmet need that we know is in the community for the kind of mom and pop landlords that aren't those Wall Street landlords buying up all the houses, but they might have 2 or 3 properties that they want to be able to keep affordable and not taking advantage of people. But if you can't maintain that property, then you might have to raise rent just to replace the roof on that house. So if we can do that, then and that helps to keep that property affordable, that's a win-win. So that's something that is being discussed, and unfortunately it's not kind of ready to go yet.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm also a landlord, but I did use a property management company, but we accept Section 8, and so that was our way of being able to still support the community, but again, not go into my son's college fund to be able to make sure I had residual income so that I can build his future and generational wealth. Because we often carry the burden instead of like trying to keep it affordable. So we're not gonna make money on it. Then what about our next generations? And so my property manager, I'll give you her name. She accepts Section 8, so we get hit both.
He doesn't
Check
qualify.
both
Yeah, I already tried everything.
Hi, good morning. I was wanting to know from rebuilding, since I went through and hit Valley, how long are you allowed to stay on the program? Because I have a critical situation going on now.
Can you clarify, or you're saying you already applied and you're waiting for services?
No, you must give her a microphone. Weston, give Sandra the microphone. No, you have already done projects at my home.
Oh, okay.
And I'm having a critical situation when I called about the air conditioning.
Oh, Miss Brown?
No, Smith.
Okay. South End. So, yeah, so our repairs they come with a 90-day warranty after our team is done, but then for many of the major components, like if we contracted out to a company to replace your HVAC system, you have a warranty with that company. So if we've just replaced that system within the last, those warranties are usually at least 5 years. You would call that company, and we can make sure that you have all of that vendor information for the company that has provided those services. But it's under warranty with that company.
Well, as of yesterday, when I called back, they told me that y'all had closed my account, and
that's with us. So the company that we hire to do the work. So we're a licensed general contractor, but we need sub-trades to do like any major electrical or HVAC. We'll hire a licensed contractor in that field to do that work. So in that case, that contractor came in and replaced your HVAC system. If anything goes wrong with that, it's under warranty with them. Our part in the process is done once we've closed out the project and it's outside of kind of our warranty period, but you still are covered under the warranty for the system that was installed. So I believe that we were in contact with you to provide the information for the contractor.
Okay, Ms. Smith, and you might want to speak with her once we close. So we're supposed to close it, but we want to close with Mr. Willie Rashford, who is the director of the center, who's allowed us to be here. So Willie has the last question.
Was all that necessary?
Yes, sir. We don't get your business too often.
Thank you, sister. So first of all, again, welcome to Belmont Center. And I want each of you to know how much I appreciate you and your respective organizations for the great work that you do to address affordable housing issues here, to address affordable housing issues here in Charlotte. But my question is this. Do we have an affordable housing problem, or is it a wage problem?
Wages.
I'll start that off, and this is just my personal opinion. I think that we have both. I think that we are not building enough affordable housing, and I think that the wages are definitely not up to par for people to afford the cost of living, especially in this area. Because as new things move in, the cost of living goes up, and then some businesses don't raise what they're paying their people who are working for them. So, and then the housing prices just keep going and going, whether it's rent, your taxes, whatever it is going up. So if you're staying at that same base level of pay, it doesn't add up. So we're definitely there's not enough space, and we can look at the shelters and all of that. There's not enough homes for people who need them and can afford them, and then the income is not matching.
That is a great answer, thank you.
I'm 100% team wages. I think really quickly there was a study done at NC Justice Center, I believe, that While we've grown in our mobility numbers, Charlotte ranked 50 out of 50 in outcomes for women. North Carolina, not just Charlotte, North Carolina ranked low because of our still at below minimum wage, standards, our lack of support for childcare, paid leave. It's a whole ecosystem of issues, and if we don't address even how much daycare costs, there's all those things are hitting at people's pockets, and so I think to me the wages is the foundation for all of those things.
Wages is certainly one of the key challenges that we have there, and that's why it has to be, again, a multi-pronged approach to addressing the issue there. What we're seeing also is that in addition to wages just not keeping pace with the rising costs, escalating costs of home ownership and rental as well there, that you have to take a diversified approach to addressing it there. So what that means is, yes, working with the likes of those organizations and stakeholders that are going to help put households in a position where they're going to increase their wages, but at the same time, help keep their costs down as well there. So that's on the front end in terms of making sure you provide developers and others with sufficient funds to build affordable housing as well.
So it's absolutely a both problem, but I would give an example of like San Francisco. Wages in San Francisco are some of the highest in the country, but housing is in such short supply that you can make $100,000 and still be housing insecure. The homelessness problem in a city like San Francisco where wages are super high, it means that it's also a housing supply issue. So we need to help to build more units in general. We definitely need more affordable units, but what's happening now is because there's just such a housing shortage in general, even at the higher ends, is you have some of the wealthier families coming into communities that are considered lower starter homes. They're buying those, raising it, putting a $500,000 home there because that's where the land is. So because we don't have enough housing stock at all ends of the spectrum, there's more downward pressure on lower income communities. So it's definitely absolutely a both problem, but we're not going to solve it with just raising wages if we don't have more housing too.
All right, since we have Mr. Willie Ratchford and Mr. Terry Bradley in the building, I'm going to take that as a point of privilege to extend a little bit of time for you all to have 15 seconds for a closing statement and contact information. If you have announcements, please send them to Steve at S. Johnston at TuesdayForumCharlotte.org. That's Johnston with a T. S. Johnston at TuesdayForumCharlotte.org.
All right, so our website is rebuildingtogetherclt.org. You can get involved in lots of ways. We're hiring for our staff. We are looking for board members to help us strategically lead our organization forward. We're looking for volunteers and then, of course, donations. So again, rebuildingtogetherclt.org.
I just want to thank you, the audience, as well as the organizers of this event for inviting us. Hopefully we've shared some insightful information there. And we want to make sure that we go to the next phase or step, which is that of providing you with the information that you need there. So I'll make sure that all of my contact information is shared with the organizers so that anything that we need to follow up on, we'll do so. Thank you.
For us, the Canopy Housing Foundation, realtors help tell the story. So when they go into our communities, and we coordinate and collaborate with nonprofits and different municipalities and habitats, they go back to their elected officials. They do, local, state, and federal, so they can help tell the story. They're not just back here twiddling their thumbs and selling houses. My business card is here. We do a lot in the community, and a lot of y'all don't even know it. We even provide grants every single year, community grants that people don't know about it. All throughout the year, we're providing programs and services. Find out about us. Everything is on my business card.
LaToya Foster, she built this city. It was an absolute honor, privilege to be here as the youngest organization here, and it's a testament to our community supporting us in our efforts. SheBuiltThisCity.org, info@SheBuiltThisCity.org to send an email. And Mr. Thomas, we need instructors. And so you said you were in the field. I opened the door for an opportunity to come and train. You can do it in a workshop. All that knowledge, we would love to have to train the next generation so they can get out of their houses and onto the job site. I'm gonna hold you to it.
share, for instance, with the Homes Program, Department of Community Resources, we can be reached at mecnc.gov/4homes. We are also on all social media platforms. So if you need any information, or you can reach out to us, our phone number is on the website as well. So you can reach out to us if you would like for us to come out to any community event to get this information out.
Thank you so much, panel. Please join us next week for another amazing Tuesday, where our guest will be somebody incredible. Dr. Thomas, play us out.